Hello, this is Adrienne Berg, and this is The Ageless Traveler. And now I am going to introduce you to someone that you really want to know. His name is Dan Shryock, and he is a cyclist. Yeah, I know some of you are going to say, wait a minute, that's not for me. Let me go on to something else. Guess what? I can't ride a bike. It's time. It's time to get into this incredible world. I know people who have been devoted to cycling. They have seen things in ways when they travel that nobody can, even people like myself who are walkers. So we're going to not only cycle across Oregon with Dan Shryock, that's the name of his latest book. We're going to learn about destinations. He's got a fabulous Substack, and I know a lot of you really are devoted Substack readers. But we're also going to get some insights for those of you who are veteran cyclists and those of you like me who are not. So, Dan, thank you for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, let's start actually with your book, Cycling Across Oregon.
Correct.
It's an amazing, amazing book. So everybody, go to our bookstore. On our website, you're going to see Dan's book's picture there too. It'll take you right to Amazon and buy his book. What will we find when we read Cycling Across Oregon?
You will find Oregon. You will find parts of rural Oregon that many Oregonians, lifelong Oregonians, have never seen. It's a very rich state. It's a very diverse state geographically, geologically, and the whole point of the book is about exploring rural Oregon, finding these little treasures, these little corners, the people, the places. I did it on two wheels. If you could slow down in your car, you could do it on four wheels.
You could do it on 2 feet too. So that's
you could do well, it would take you a while, but yes, you could do it on 2 feet.
So treasures. If I ask you, give me your top treasure or top few treasures that are really stay in your heart and mind from your trip, what would it be?
There's a place, the Painted Hills, in the John Day Fossil Beds National Monument that's just breathtaking. You can see millions of years of changes in the ribbons of colors in the sediment and the sides of the hills. It's beautiful, and it's history, it's geologic history. Oregon is built on volcanoes and lava flows and basalt. And once you understand that, you start to discover things about Oregon, both sides of the Cascades that are quite beautiful. Another neat location is a ghost town that's owned by a family in Eastern Oregon called Pondosa, not Ponderosa, but Pondosa. It's an old timber town that no longer exists, but this family still maintains this one old boarding house. And it's a wayside stop, whether you're on a bicycle, on a motorcycle, or just driving by.
So in the book, how many miles did you actually traverse on this trip?
We did 1,500 miles.
1,500. How long a time?
There are 17 official scenic bikeways in the state of Oregon. Our goal was to do all 17 bikeways in one calendar year. So we didn't do them back to back. We did them when my friends were available. We were able to do 16 in 1 year. We finally got the 17th completed 2 years later.
So you know that we're walkers, we belong to Free Walkers, and I'm going to put that in the show notes too. And we do the same with El Camino. El Camino is 600 miles, could be even more. But you take it in bites, 100 miles, 110 miles at a time. So this is not unusual for people who want to see the world in a very different way. But what I'm used to is walking from place to place, ending up in a pension or a little cottage or a small hotel every night. How did you guys do that with regard to accommodations?
With only one exception, we did the same thing. I call it credit card touring.
Okay.
We definitely stayed. We didn't sleep on the ground, with the exception of 2 nights.
Well, we're the ageless traveler, and the days of sleeping, that ship has sailed.
Yes.
Even for those of us that don't only cruise, the ship has sailed when it comes to sleeping on the ground. Now, this is part of our Travel Bros series. And what Travel Bros is all about, to remind our listeners, is that I discovered that a huge percentage, depends on who you read, 25% to 63% of women who travel by themselves are married. And when surveyed, they simply say, my husband does not like to travel. And that made me curious, not about men who don't like to travel, but about men who do like to travel, the minority, the positive deviants. That's what you are. And that's what Travel Bros is about. So what is your motivation? I mean, you gotta do a lot of schlepping to do what you're doing.
My motivation is twofold. First of all, there is the underlying exercise, health and fitness motivation. That's why I started cycling in 2010. But I'm also a traveler. I love to travel. I love to explore. I love to, as I like to say, turn left when everybody else turns right and go down the streets that the tour guides don't talk about. I'm a journalist. I like to explore and discover. I'm curious. Cycling allows me to do both, and it allows me to go places that I might not otherwise go. The San Juan Islands in Washington State,
Yeah.
the top of Palomar Mountain in San Diego County, places that aren't on my normal radar, but because I'm looking for new places to ride, I find them.
Small aside, I love Whidbey Island in the San Juans. Of course, I went by seaplane, but that's another story. And I do recommend it. Again, Whidbey Island will be in the show notes. So a lot of a podcast starts with these long dissertations about the resume of the guest, and then everybody falls asleep. So I don't want to do that. I always do it a little bit later on. But you've got a great resume. I mean, even close to a Pulitzer. So explain what you mean when you say, "Oh, I'm a journalist." Tell us a little bit about that background before we take
I-
a break.
I'm a newspaper man. Newspapers may be dead, but the ink is still in my blood.
Uh-huh.
So a reporter at heart, reporter, I would always say I was a reporter before being a writer because I wanted to find out. So I had a 40-year career in the business, and when that ended, I was already working with the tourism industry in some ways, doing some travel writing. So I just decided to transition to that, and I was riding a bike, and so I thought, well, I'm going to take this travel writing opportunity and cycling and become a cyclotourism writer.
Fantastic. Well, there's something for everybody in it. When we come back, we're going to talk about ways to begin to ride a bike and become a cyclist, which is two different things. Being able to ride a bike and becoming a devoted tourist cyclist is two different things. But I think when you get started, it catches you. Don't you guys go anywhere. We'll be right back. If you've been thinking about a cruise, I've definitely got you covered with CruiseIt. Now, we have just become affiliated with them. And who are they? Well, CruiseIt is the top agency for all the main cruise lines and some of the less known cruise lines as well. CruiseIt has access to booking space that's been open years in advance, so you can get the best cabins. That's just number one. But they also make the prices lower. The cruise lines give CruiseIt their own exclusive agency discounts. And if you're not from the cruise line, they have their own agency discounts that would apply as well. So you get both any discounts you would normally get on the cruise line, plus additional discounts that are given exclusively to CruiseIt because they bring in so much business. On top of all those discount perks, when you book with them, you get the best rate guaranteed. And this is because Cruise Fair Watch system takes place. Now, what CruiseIt does is it tracks the pricing until the final payment date. So you keep in mind that to get the best rate guaranteed, you have to use my site. We have affiliated with them specifically. I sat down, I met with them in Tucson, Arizona. I met with Marianne Weather. We're now become good friends. She gave me a direct line, not only a link, which you can certainly use right away, but if you have questions, even a specific phone number. CruiseIt offers this not just to anyone that is one of our followers, but if you have friends and family, you can bring them in too. So just take a look at the show notes and you will see our dedicated phone line and our dedicated link. Happy sailing! And now we're back, and we're speaking with Dan Shryock, and he is the author of Cycling Across Oregon, but a lot more. He also has a very important Substack.
I launched my Substack, which conveniently is called Why We Ride. And I launched that in November. And I've been writing about places to take your bike throughout California and the Pacific Northwest.
And so, again, for people who are interested in travel and traveling on two wheels, or I once had a tricycle, adult tricycle, three wheels, give it a shot. Now, let's go back to that. When you are a cyclist, somebody who already knows how to ride a bike, maybe you've got a special kind of bike, there's still some hints and tips that you could share. So, again, some of your top hints and tips for veteran cyclists when they're going to do something like a 1,500 mile, trek, even if though it's in pieces. What would you say? Maybe it's the biggest mistake you made that you'll never make again.
The biggest mistake I certainly made was getting a late start on a hot day. This was out at the Painted Hills that we mentioned earlier, and it got so hot that the asphalt started to boil. And yes, it can actually happen. Know your conditions, know your climate. We knew we just were late starting, and we haven't made that mistake again. Another tip is that we apply always have some sort of emergency support. Veteran riders will know it as having a sag wagon, a support and gear vehicle. Having a sag wagon is great if you have a mechanical problem with your bicycle and you need a tool because you can only carry so much in the pockets in the back of your shirt if you need water, if you need air conditioning. So we always travel with a SAG vehicle nearby to support us. Know where you're going, know
No
your
way you go.
routes,
Yes.
study your routes in advance so that you can minimize the surprises other than the ones you want. You want to be surprised, but you don't want to be surprised by getting lost. Yeah, and know your limitations. Don't take on a challenging ride if you know you're a moderate rider or an intermediate rider. You know what you can do. Don't go 60 miles when you know your limit is 30.
So a couple of things. I'm a hiker and a walker, and all those things apply. And because I live in Palm Springs, I'm very aware of when you start your hiking or when you start your walking, because even yesterday, just walking 3 or 4 miles, and I started at noon. And I knew right away it was like, Lawrence of Arabia. The anvil was going to come down and get me. So be careful. And we have a book for caregivers who are traveling with their care recipients. And it's a difficult thing to do, but there's a whole section on hydration. And that section, the book is called Caregiver's Travel Guide, and it's free. But that section on hydration could go for anybody, not just somebody who's taking care of someone, certainly somebody on a bike. That's extremely important. I want on a hints and tips, I want to go to one other thing though, which is apps. When we walk, we have apps that are all trails and things of that nature. Are there apps that you particularly like? Because sometimes there are so many that you can't pick, and sometimes there aren't enough.
I use two apps. One is called Ride with GPS, ridewithgps.com. That is my mapping, tracking route. I I wear these little ear devices while I ride. And for those who say, "Oh, you shouldn't wear that. You can't hear," my ear is open so you can hear. But I use that so I can listen to directions. It'll say, "In a quarter mile, turn right." So I don't get lost because I'm using Ride with GPS in the directional device. I also use Strava, which is a very popular exercise tracking app for runners and walkers and hikers and bikers. But that's more of a private way where I log all of my rides. So I've got my navigational app and my personal logging app.
So you're tracking your own journey. I did want to mention one thing. You said that one of your motivations was health, and I'm going to throw this one in for people to understand. One of the things that happen when you get older, and you'll all notice it, is that your muscles atrophy. And sometimes they call it sarcopenia because the flesh hangs. Yeah. but all these things that come with age that we now have to embrace because we are ageless travelers. But mitochondria is what keeps your cells of your muscles strong. It increases with cycling. And they did an incredible study. They had people cycle a stationary bike with one leg only. And then they measured the mitochondria in the one leg and the leg that had not cycled for 3 months. What a muscular difference. In the not so much that people could see it, that they were bulking up or anything, but it was not detectable except to the body. Very strong leg, very healthy cells. Cells not dying off, which is what makes you actually leave the planet, is dying off cells. Cells weren't dying off, all because of that movement, that cycling movement. So I thought that was very interesting about longevity and cycling. And we're going to talk about how people like me, who do not have the pleasure of cycling, I'll tell you my story in a minute, can become an entryway. What is an entryway for them into cycling? So don't you guys go anywhere because we're going on safari. We'll be right back. What are you doing between September 14th and September 27th? Well, one of the things you could be doing is going on safari with us in Kenya and Tanzania. Yes, we will meet in Nairobi and we will take a look at this wonderful city, and then the adventure of a lifetime ensues. 13 game drives during that period of time. We will have breakfast in the bush with incredible tribal chefs and so much more. Yes, Kilimanjaro was on the list, and it is the time of the running of the wildebeest, something I've always wanted to see. But we are getting an incredible price, and so we will be cut off on May 30th. If you are interested in going, now is the time. Simply take a look at our website, agelesstraveler.com. Take a look at featured trips, and you will see incredible details day by day for Africa. Now, you'll also see a price that includes air, but the price without air is really scrumptiously low. Okay, if you're interested, take a look, and you have a phone number there so that you can call Colette, get more details, travel with us, never stop traveling. And now we are back. And you know, what I'm loving to do here, Dan, with Dan Shryock, who is the author of Cycling Across Oregon, also Why We Ride on Substack, and a journalist of cycling. One of the things that is so interesting to me about this is that when you haven't started to do something, and you start when you're older, like me, it really empowers you. You know, there's a lot of people who really feel that aging is they're losing every day, they're losing something. I feel I'm gaining something every day, probably because I was so lame when I was younger. I never did a thing. I'm not kidding. Now I'm everywhere. So I want to try this. My history is very simple. I'm a real inner city girl. I had one bicycle. I was 5 years old. It had training wheels, and it was called Silver, next to Hi-O Silver and Away. That was the name of my bike, and I was able to go around 4 city blocks because my mother let me. I have never seen a bicycle since. After Silver, couldn't take the training wheels off, never happened. As an adult, I bought a tricycle, and I fell immediately, and I was pretty sick. I had a concussion, I had all kinds of things. So it turned me away from ever trying to actually ride a bike. But you say I can. So tell me about that.
I say that if anyone can try, there may be a reason why cycling isn't for an individual, but I encourage everyone to at least give it a shot. There are two important things I'd say here. First of all, don't go out and buy a high-end, expensive bike. Find something used, something comfortable, and take it to your local park and just ride. Ride 1 mile, ride 2 miles. If you like it, ride 4 miles and just see how you feel about the activity. If you like it, then a thing that you can do is look into e-bikes, electric bikes. E-bikes are not motorcycles. They are what you call pedal assist bikes. So you don't get the electric motor boost unless you're actually moving the pedals, but it allows you to get out and explore rural areas and get in more miles than you may have the conditioning to do. Uh, I know people who say that they could ride 30 miles on a traditional bicycle. Now they can go 60 because they're not using as much energy, but they're still out and exploring. I wouldn't encourage you to go out and buy an e-bike from the start. They're not cheap unless you rent them. That's true. And that's a good point. If you're traveling on a vacation, for example, I'm going to Amsterdam in June. Um, and one of the things that we probably will do is take an e-bike tour of Amsterdam. This is something my wife and I do on a regular basis because we can explore the city on a tour on an e-bike and not get sweaty, not get overworked.
Right.
So we can enjoy the exploration of the city on an e-bike. So that's a really good way to get introduced to e-bikes, as a matter of fact.
Now you said a magic word, which was conditioning. What conditioning do you do? Are there special exercises that you do on a regular basis so that you're a better biker? We do certain things as for long distance walking.
I don't imagine they'd be very different.
Yeah,
Stretching,
right.
yeah, I mean, stretching is so important for everyone, for no matter what you're doing, but just work your legs. Just go to the gym or go to your stationary bike in the house in the winter and just pedal. Just know that you can move those legs. And the more you ride, the more you're conditioned.
Yeah, the easiest exercise that people don't do in the whole world is move their ankles. This is so important for walking because it gives you balance and it gives you stronger ankles and you can just go faster. And there's nothing to it. There's no huffing and puffing. I'm actually doing it right now under the desk. So like, going back to the last thing that I wanted to ask you about cycling specifically, and then after we take a break, I want to talk about some of the places you've gone that you've loved the most. But with regard specifically to cycling, I see a certain kind of bike. People are almost lying down, they're almost vertical. And it's got I think it's got two wheels in the front and one in the back. I mean, I've seen different configurations. What is that?
Those are called recumbent bikes.
Yes.
And I've never ridden a recumbent bicycle. I don't know if I want to, but some people swear by them. It may be, well, I'm going to get personal and say that I last year discovered that I've got arthritis in my neck, and I have to tilt my neck a certain way to be able when I ride my bicycle. You can't see my hands forward, but it's a
Yes.
position. I've aggravated my neck because of my bicycling. I would probably be a good candidate for a recumbent bicycle because now I am sitting, basically just sitting with my legs forward and my torso more vertical, and I'm not stretching out my or hurting my neck.
And
So,
so is it better for balance? Because I know that for many bicyclists, and I've talked to a lot of people like me who can't ride or they fall, their real problem is balance, not stamina.
and recumbents reduce that balance problem because you're closer to the ground. You're not on two wheels. You either have one in the front and two in the back, or vice versa. And so you're more stable. You're not going to tip over.
Right,
I
right.
think
No,
that would be too.
it looks stable. I can tell you that I can even tip over on a tricycle, but that's a different story. All right. We're going to take a little bit of a break and we're going to go to many, many places together. How? And have discounts? Well, take a listen. We'll be right back. One of the things that you've told me over and over again is that your biggest barrier to travel is money. What else is new? Well, we have now affiliated and partnered with all the booking sites that you would be interested in. That's booking.com, that's hotels.com, that's Expedia, that's guides, get your guide, and of course, TripAdvisor, the big one. So if you are going to be booking, you're going to want to use the links that we provide for you because there are discounts there. There's also ease and convenience. It also does something for all of us. It is true, yes. I get a small donation in the event that you book through any of these sites, but I plow it right back in so that we can have more research, more clout in the world of anti-ageism and tourism, and get you even more discounts. So please use these because it'll be good for you and it'll be good for your family. And it really puts a lot more money in your pocket and makes life easy. How do you do that? Well, you simply go to our discount page on agelesstraveler.com/discounts. You'll see that also in the show notes. So use it and never stop traveling. And now we are back. We're here with Dan Shryock, and he has really illuminated a world, a new world for some of us, a world that we're already in for others. My very good friend who did start Free Walkers and is a long distance walker, her husband is a long distance cyclist. So I know that world and I know how exciting it is for him. And it really is part of Travel Bros because in his case, he travels with a group of guys who have become very close friends. And you travel with women and men who I assume also have become close friends. So the idea of having camaraderie and companionship is so important. You also travel with your wife. So if someone said to you, Dan, I'm ready. I am going somewhere in the world. Where was your favorite place to cycle other than Oregon? We know that. But I know you're going to Amsterdam. You've been to so many places, and you write about destinations a lot. What is your pick?
It's assuming that you are in shape, in condition, and you can do the mileage and you can do some climbing, as we say, going uphill. I would go to Lucca, Italy.
Ah, beautiful.
And for those who don't know, Lucca is in northern Tuscany. It's about an hour west of Florence. Lucca is one of the uh, destinations for professional cyclists to live and train in the off season. It's a beautiful, smaller Italian medieval town with wonderful hills just outside the city, very accessible. I will be there before I go to Amsterdam, and I already know the little hilltop town that I'm going to ride to.
I've been to Lucca many times, and never once did I think of it or knew that it was a cycling town. When you are myopic, when you're seeing things just from your point of view, and of course, I always think I'm seeing it from so many point of views, it isn't true. I have a blind spot with that because I don't cycle, and neither does my husband. I never knew that. My daughter and son-in-law just came back from there and said they want to move there. And I like a town called Colati, which is right near Lucca. It's named after the author of Pinocchio.
Yes,
No, Disney did not write Pinocchio. Colati wrote
it's
Pinocchio.
true.
And if you read the original, it's pretty dark. Let me tell
Yes.
you, that cricket does not wear a top hat. So anyway, there's so much to uncover.
I would encourage you the next time you go to Lucca, there's a bike shop. A good friend of mine owns the bike shop. He'll rent you a very casual city bike, ride up on top of the wall. Lucca is surrounded by a medieval earthen wall, and it's all flat up there. Just ride the 4 kilometers, about, what, 2.5 miles around that wall at a very casual pace, and it's a beautiful way to look down into the old city of Lucca.
Very beautiful. And we'll leave you with this. You're going to Amsterdam soon. That's really a biking town. Everybody bikes there.
Yes, yes.
So we thank you so much. And now, of course, I always ask, what's your next project? I know you're traveling. Are you writing anything specific? Do we have a Crossing Oregon 2?
I do not plan a sequel. My Substack project is the sequel. Getting back to that newspaper model of doing individual articles rather than one large project. Things that are on my target this year are riding around Lake Tahoe.
Beautiful.
I want to ride up as far as is allowed at Mount St. Helens. And I just returned from Cozumel, Mexico,
Yes.
which in itself isn't a bicycling destination, but it's a cute little island off of the Yucatan Peninsula And if you want to go for a really flat 40-mile ride, the ocean views along the east side of that island are just spectacular. And so I'll be writing about that.
Well, that's beautiful. And let me also remind you guys that are river cruisers and ocean cruisers that today almost every excursion from a ship offers some kind of bicycle experience. So that is one other way that you really can enjoy bicycling if you already ride a bike and see some things in the slow lane. So thank you so much, Dan. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
And you know what I want to tell everybody else? Don't forget, we are a community of travelers, of ageless travelers. Please join our Facebook salon. You'll find everything, including our free ebooks, all of our podcasts, all of our blogs on agelesstraveler.com. Pretty easy. And don't forget, travel with us. But most of all, never stop traveling.